Hey everyone, this is Adam Yurchik recording for TCGplayer.com. Thanks for joining me for round 3, the finals of my Lorwyn flashback draft on Magic Online. I won the die roll, so I'm going to choose to play first. I have a hand with both colors of mana, and I even have Nightshade Stinger into Spellstutter Sprite, so this hand is awesome. I definitely need to draw a few land to turn on all the excellent 4-drops in my hand, but otherwise this hand's perfect and definitely a keep. And barring some very unfortunate draws, I should be in great shape. I'm hopefully going to be able to counter something with Spellstutter Sprite. So here I have the option of, instead of playing Spellstutter Sprite on a 2-drop, just casting Pepper Smoke, and I'm going to do that just to guarantee I draw a card and because I need a mana. I need to draw lands here. It could come back to bite me, but he's not necessarily going to have a 2-mana card here, and Spellstutter Sprite's not necessarily going to be dead later on. So as it turned out, he didn't have anything, and this worked out really well for me. As it turns out, I didn't actually need to cast Pepper Smoke. I would have drawn lands, but no way to know that. And also, I took that Face Vaulter off the table, and then look at this. Counter that 2-mana card right here. Looks like he drew a mountain that he needed. And I believe the best play here is to be proactive and just play Marsh Flitter. Turtle Shell Changeling is a little bit mana inefficient, and I don't have blue mana to spare here. Sentinels of Glenelendra is great, but we don't get to use its flash ability very well. We don't take advantage of it. I'd rather just put down the most power with Marsh Flitter and seek to end the game as quickly as I can. I'm actually going to send everything, and whatever he blocks, he probably will block a 1/1, and I'm just going to sack that to the Flitter and deal 5 to him, and I'm just going to try to kill him as quickly as I can. I'm going to actually give up some advantage, some card advantage, and board advantage for damage here. Going to play him very aggressively. Do not want to get overpowered in the late game. I want to just end him. And with Broken Ambitions back, this is a nice plan. If he doesn't cast something relevant, I'll cast Sentinels, and that will definitely put him away. If I do have to counter something, then I'll have to play Sentinels next turn. And that gives him a little bit of wiggle room, but again, he is in rough shape. So here he actually casts Fodder Launch. He sacrifices Mud Button. And he does 3 damage to our Spellstutter, and then he has Fodder Launch that's going to deal 5 to our Flitter and deal us 5. I can counter that, or I can play Sentinels. I think the best play here is simply to take 5, let my creature die, and then play Sentinels. And that adds more damage to the board. And then it lets me keep up Broken Ambitions on an empty board with an offense going, and that just leaves him in a really bad position. I am fine taking that 5 damage. That's pretty much irrelevant here, and I'm fine with him killing my 1 power flyer. And he concedes the game. So his cards, his removal cards did not work out well against my Marsh Flitter go wide plan with 1-drops and 2-drops. whereas Turtle Shell Changeling would have been a really juicy target for him. Okay, I could consider counter spells, but he's probably a pretty aggressive Goblin deck. And I don't see much reason to change anything. I could get rid of Silver Gilt Dowser if he doesn't have big threats, but I'm not sure that I want another counter spell, and I don't really want the Deep Tread Marrow in this matchup. He's not like Kithkin where he's hyper aggressive and he has 2-mana 2/2s I can block. Goblin's a little bit more grindy, a little bit more multi-dimensional. It can play a control game. I think my counter spells are a little bit better, but being on the draw, I really don't want 3 Broken Ambitions. I'm just going to submit this how it is. I think Thieving Sprite's one of my better cards because of the value it generates. So this hand is great. It doesn't have 1 or 2 mana creatures, but it has very solid stuff up the curve, and it actually has Nameless Inversion. I'll play the Swamp and represent Pepper Smoke that he has in mind. Ideally, I'll play this Secluded Glen on turn 4 as I tap out for a fairy. So Mud Button, I think I'm actually going to just Inversion it, take 3, that way he can't use it as a removal spell, and also so he can't sacrifice it to something later on, like the card he cast last game, and that protects my creatures. So here I'm going to pass and actually upkeep tap his Swamp. And hopefully that prevents him from casting something that he wanted to cast. And I want to hold Thieving Sprite to the last opportunity. I would like to be able to see his whole hand. And here, I'm just going to play Marsh Flitter. Reveal that. Play the Marsh Flitter. Be very proactive. The strategy worked out really well last game. Let's do it again this game. He could have Incendiary Command that we... or some potential other sweeper. That's the one I can think of, but Marsh Flitter actually survives that. So he casts Warren Pilford and gets back Mud Button, so that was great for him, obviously. I'm actually going to make the same play. I'm going to be highly aggressive here. And he actually does not block, so I don't even have to sacrifice. That's awesome. No need to sacrifice, and I will just pass the turn with the counter spell up, Pepper Smoke up, and Sentinels up. Alternatively, I could have cast the Dream Spoiler Witches, but I think with the flash creature in hand, that's a better thing to keep up. So he actually concedes. I don't know what he had going on. Apparently not much in the face of the fairies, but I win the draft. That's awesome. So thank you for watching, and please join me for future flashback draft videos.